Hey, I'm James and this is the Gears Wood Shop. Today we're going to take this tri-channel black ceramic ring and inlay some Fenway Park wood into it. Let's go. Alright, at first glance this may seem very similar to other bands that I've done in the past. I've inlaid a lot of different Stadium Series woods into a lot of different types of blanks. However, this one is going to be significantly different. There is quite a big learning curve on this one. There are a lot of ways that this can mess up. So because this is a 3-channel ring, the wood is going to go on the outer 2 channels, and the inner channel is going to feature eye candy pigment green with a little bit of opal, kind of as a nod to the green monster out at Fenway Park. Now the reason why this is so difficult is because of how thin those channels are. I want to say they're about 1 millimeter-ish wide. So cutting this to be the right size is going to be very, very difficult. So what we're going to do, is we're going to cut everything here to be the exact size that we need for this channel before we cut the actual wood channel pieces. I'm going to hope to not have to use the Dremel or any other hand tools or anything like that, just the lathe, because introducing other things like the Dremel and the disc sander increases the likelihood of that piece of wood snapping in half. If that piece of wood snaps in half, I'm kind of up the creek. Luckily, this is a pretty thick block, so I only need a small amount for these channels. So I have enough material here to screw up a couple times, but we're going to hope that that does not happen. So, enough talking, let's get to making. So if you've seen my videos before, you see how I go through and make sure that the band, the wood material fits the inlay channel, right? The unfortunate thing with this ring is that these channels are not wide enough for my calipers to fit into, so I won't get a good fit here. Fortunately, I have a 9.5 dual channel one that fits the calipers perfectly, so I can still go through and do my method of making sure that all the things fit on a completely different band while making sure that everything fits this band. So just a little bit of tinkering and we can get it done. next step in our journey is to knock this down to a ring size. Again, I'm going to try to do everything here to get it as close to the right fit as possible before I try to put everything in these super tiny channels. So we'll get the ring size close. I'll switch out my tool to my parting tool, and I'll try to cut as absolutely close to the size of this channel as possible with everything. And we'll go from there. Alright, with the parting tool on here now, all I'm going to do is clean up the front and back edges so I have a good flat surface to work with. I think what I might need to do after that is take this off, wrap this in parchment paper, and then coat this entire thing in CA glue to ensure that we get a nice strong hold, especially once the wood starts to get real thin. Okay, for this portion, what we've done, what I like to do is I like to ensure that we are getting as close to perfect of a cut as possible. This is going to be for someone's wedding band, so I don't want it to look all wonky or anything. So what I do when I'm doing these multi-channel rings is I run electrical tape along the outer channels to protect them from anything that I'm doing with the middle channel. Or if I'm doing a 2-channel ring, I'll do electrical tape on one side, focus on channel 1, sand down channel 1, put electrical tape over that, focus on channel 2. So We're going to take our emerald green pigment. We're going to take a little bit of green, or we're going to take a little bit of green opal that we've put in here to give the pigment something to bond to, and we're going to start to fill out this channel. So, as I'm sure, I just got green in my hair. As I'm sure most of you guys noticed almost immediately, the CA glue and the pigment went all over the electrical tape on the outer bands. It's actually a good thing. That's why I had the electrical tape there. It's a lot easier to separate the electrical tape from the black ceramic band with this little pick tool that I had than it is to separate just CA glue and pigment from that band. Now, that glue hadn't fully bonded yet, so it is easy to break off. But in the off chance that it had fully bonded, what we would have had to do is we would have had to soak it in acetone, and that would have taken the entire middle section out. We would have had to do it all over again. Now, there are some low spots in this band, which is fine. I accounted for that because doing something that is 90% pigment and 10% opal, the CA glue doesn't really have anything to bond to. So what it does is it just picks up that pigment and it runs it along the entire channel of the band, which is why I was using so much accelerant throughout that entire process. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our two rings and put them in here. I am 50% sure I let it get a little bit too big on the inside, but I cut everything with a jeweler saw, so that should mitigate that. If it doesn't, there's workarounds, there's ways to fix it. So let's go. one small problem, and I kind of anticipated this to happen, but it's fixable. So you can see right there we had some tear out. Luckily, as I've always said, I keep all of my sawdust until the job's done. So all we need is to just fill a little bit of that. We do we'll go through and check. Doesn't look like there's any more. We do need to clean up this portion so it actually looks like it's a separate band. So let's go ahead and do that. Final piece, if I can find my pen, just had it. Pen I made myself, the first time I get to sound something with it. We take our COA for the Fenway Park wood, and we get to sign under artisan. So before I show you the finished piece, this was one of the more difficult rings I've ever done for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, is the makeup of the ring. Having the smaller channels does mean that there's a higher opportunity for things to break. Fortunately, we only had one small piece blow out, and we were able to fill that with the sandpaper from the material itself. Another thing about this ring, this is somebody's wedding band. They're getting married in about a month, and this is something that that person is going to wear during, one of the most important days of their life, and hopefully for the rest of their life after that. So very important to go through and take, with every ring, obviously, but more so when you know that it's going to be a part of someone's wedding day. It increases the kind of tension on building it, because if you screw up, you got to start all over again, and you know, you may have been almost perfect on the first time, and the second time it doesn't turn out so well. So just going through and taking those extra steps, making sure that, you know, I had the Hell's Angels coming through here, making sure I had a ring that fit that diameter so that I knew that the pieces would fit even when they were super small. Wrapping the band in electrical tape so that if I got CA glue and pigment powder on another channel, it wouldn't ruin that channel, and I could easily pull the excess out with this. All those little things go through and add time to every single build that you do. You know, even filming the video, this build could have been done, you know, probably 30 minutes faster, but you know, it was important for me to document this for their wedding day, so he can kind of look back on it anytime he kind of looks over at the mantle and sees this. He can look down at the ring and be like, wow, I have a certified piece of Fenway Park, you know, somewhere that I love, that I'm wearing every single day. And that's one of the reasons why I love, you know, this job of making these rings, because these rings aren't, you know, not something you can just buy in any box store. It's specific to that person, to that couple. So I just want to take a minute to say thank you to the gentleman who commissioned me for this ring. I'm not going to say his name here because it's, you know, it's his business, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If anything ever happens to the ring, just hit me up and we'll get you squared away, okay? I'm James, this is the Gears Wood Shop, and that was the Fenway Park ring. If you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to be doing a whole lot more stuff like this in the future, as well as other projects like cutting boards and tables and challenge coin holders and things like that. So keep an eye out. If you got any suggestions for what you want to see next, drop them in the comments below. Thanks guys, have a good one.